Good evening, everyone. Today I'm recording not on live, but just off my recording of my Facebook recording, and because somehow, some way, somebody has decided to block my live recordings, and I know why that is because I'm speaking in the direction of what needs to be done, what we as our Father God children and in the secular world, the United States of America citizens, the measures that we need to take to win at this 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 tug of war that we are up against with the government and our Father God's adversary, who we all know as how I categorize them as Beelzebub, Lucifer, Satan, and the devil with all of his demonic demons. And but in the physical world, I would say it is the the power that's in the White House, the power that is being ruled by him, and his constituents that agree with him, which could be a number of other branches of our United States security system, like our governors and our mayors and the city law enforcement, cities and the state law enforcement. Now, they would be the ones that I would say would be in the category of uh, like Beelzebub, Lucifer, Satan, and the devil with all of his demonic demons. Like that. Now, see, if you can compare the two, that is the way it would be. It would be secular and then it would be spiritual in that area. So, but see, what we as individuals in this country today needs to understand is that we have a responsibility to make the officials of this country to abide by the laws and the statutes in which that are already in place, and and nothing more. Watching the the news shows that they have on television, and the way everyone is speaking about the possibilities of not being able to restrain the Mr. Trump from starting a nuclear holocaust, it will be possibly that we may have that they may have to restrain him, tackle him down to keep him from being a first responder of pushing the nuclear button. Because he could get up in the middle of the night and decide that he's going to start a nuclear war. And the same as our people, our Father God's people, that needs to take the necessary measures in the direction of understanding that the adversary do exist, and the way that he works is being able to possess individuals and orchestrate their thoughts and persuade them to act out in certain ways, to to think in certain ways. The same as the paranoia of the United States citizens acting out in certain ways because of the officials that we have in place. So, what we got to do is understand the severity of this existence. Yes, Satan do exist. Yes, we can receive the power of our Father God if we ask for it. But if we just go on ourselves and ignore our Father, that does not make him happy. Think about it. How many people are there out here in this world that goes about their business every day, not even one time thinking about our Father and what it is that he would have us to do? Quite a few of them. Now, how do you think parents feel when their children are not cooperating with them? Frustrating, isn't it? Yes, it is. So, can you imagine what's going on with our Father? Can you imagine him watching his children being subjected by Satan when there he is sitting on the throne waiting for all of us to come home? But in the meantime, we are being lured into the fire with gasoline underwear on. Or let's say, look at it like this: our children walking out in the streets, causing all types of uproar, stealing, fighting, shooting guns, and stabbing people. Kind of, if you love your children, you know that that can be very testing to a parent. So let's think about what we know that is going on in this existence. And would you think that a father would be happy with what's going on? All this mess that's happening? I don't think so. So, what we need to do is to remember, how would you feel with your children being off the hook, disobedient, out there bringing on the heat that could be very detrimental to their lives and their health? And remember, our Father God is our Father. He is the Father of all fathers. We know exactly which direction He chooses that He would love for us to go, and it is in His direction. But instead, can you imagine how disappointed He was when Adam and Eve went in the opposite direction of Him? Can you imagine probably what it might have been like for him when, I'd have to say, Jonah? Go back to Jonah and the whale. But actually, Jonah and the fish. And when God had told Jonah to go and talk to the people and tell them to straighten up or they would see his wrath. And Jonah tried to run. Kind of like I can remember when I was a kid and my mother wanted me to do something and I tried to run. So my mother sent my older brother to come and get me and carry me back home. So that I had to face her anyway, you know. So, but now, how about like when God said that King David was one of his children that was that took after his heart as the way God felt. You know, God looked upon David as being someone really special. Then David had one of his people killed so he could take over his subject's wife, Bathsheba. So there was something about Bathsheba that really took David by the storm. And he just had to have that woman. You know, Bathsheba, she was um, Solomon's mother. Yes, but still, let's talk about other incidents that took place that our Father God probably did not approve of. And that was in the city of Solomon and Gomorrah, when it was Lot's wife that disobeyed what God's instructions were. When, as they left the city, not to look back, but she did. Just like Eve took it upon herself to do the act in which that God forbid. We all in this world are doing things that can be against our Father God's commandments. But do we care to try to understand what those particular things are? And are we taking the precaution of following our Father God's commandments? Are we? Do we? Not so much. And hey, I can't exclude myself from that because I'm human too. But what if we was to do our best at being obedient and following the commandments in which that we know in our heart our Father God chooses for us to do? We would be doing 100% better. But see, we have a man in the government that disrespects his position as being the leader of the free country. And he wants to be the one to call the shots. And if not, he is willing to sacrifice it all and take us all down and have us in the middle of a nuclear war. So, what is it that we as individuals in this country need to do in order to be able to show Congress that we do not approve of this person? Is to get involved with various different groups. And if you don't have any groups, start one. So I don't know exactly who would be one of those people. Of course, I can't include myself because I just do not have the resources to be able to get something like that started. If I had and I thought that it was a possibility, I would that would be the direction in which that I would go. So I do this. I get online and I speak my mind. And I speak about the reality in which that each and every one of us choose not to try to think about. But we cannot ignore it. We definitely cannot ignore it. So I would think that some of my brothers and sisters out there would think about what I just presented to you. So this King David D coming on here to speak to you from me and always let you know that I love you. Do you love me?